We're talking about sins against the first commandment, and we've been talking about sacrilege, and it consists in profaning or treating unworthily the sacraments and other liturgical actions, as well as persons, things, or places consecrated to God. Another sacrilege that could be carried out with frequency is related to the Most Holy Eucharist. And it's this: to be able to receive the Eucharist properly, one has to be prepared, catechized, to make his or her first communion. Then to receive the sacrament, one has to be in the state of sanctifying grace. That means not to be in the state of mortal sin. Mortal sin has three conditions: grave matter, full knowledge, and full consent to the will. If there's a mortal sin that's committed, then the person has to go to confession before receiving the sacrament. It's a very telling chapter in the Bible which speaks very powerfully about this reality of receiving the Eucharist improperly. And it can be found in 1 Corinthians 11, where St. Paul speaks about a very sad situation. In Corinth, you had the rich people and the poor people to be coming together to celebrate the Lord's meal, that is, the Eucharist. But before that, they would come together and have what is called an agape, a love feast where they would be eating together, drinking together, and enjoying each other's company. But unfortunately, the rich people would overeat and get drunk, and the poor people would have nothing to eat or drink. Then immediately following that, they would celebrate the Lord's meal. St. Paul comes on very strongly rebuking these people that were getting drunk, overeating, but also despising the poor. And he said that, don't you have your homes to eat in? And Paul says, make sure you examine your conscience before you receive the Lord. And he says, some of you are falling asleep. Some of you are even dying because of your reception of the Eucharist in an improper way. How many people today approach the Lord's meal to receive the Eucharist not in the state of grace? So if someone is aware of being in mortal sin, he first has to make a sacramental confession, then he can receive Holy Communion. Otherwise, he's committing a sacrilegious communion, and he's eating and drinking to his own condemnation. So with respect to the Eucharist, always have great faith in the Eucharist, but receive it with a proper disposition.